So guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. So guys, Terence Crawford has come under a lot of stick after, his recent comments with Canelo Alvarez. And a lot of people have had a lot to say. A lot of people, have come out and criticized him and said, why did you make those kind of comments? He's obviously, I don't know why he said what he said, to be honest with you, but I think he went on social media, after he saw the reaction. He said there's a lot of people that are butthurt about the comments, so he obviously doesn't care about what he said. But some people have asked me, why did Terence Crawford say that? Is he looking for attention? The fact that he can't get any big fights, and he knows Canelo's a big thing in boxing, so he's said something controversial to get some attention. Is he just hating on Canelo because he wants to be pound for pound best in the world, and people think Canelo's the best pound for pound in the world right now? So just to discredit his wins. So for a fact, if he's saying that he's ducking Charlo and Andrade, he's not going to fight them anytime soon. Crawford knows that. So then people say he's ducking and they put Crawford #1. I don't know what his school of thought was, because to say what he said in terms of Canelo's avoiding black fighters, it sounds kind of absurd. He fought Jacobs, he fought Lara, he fought Trout, he fought Mayweather, right? He's fought all of these guys, right? These are all black fighters, and I don't know why you would come out and say something so absurd. The way he said that, he's avoiding black fighters. Now, there's not a lot of black fighters in the middleweight and the super middleweight division. At 168 and 168, currently at 168, there's no black fighter that holds a world title. And at 160, there's Andrade and Charlo. But there's no one at 168. Canelo wants to become undisputed at 168. I just find Terence Crawford's comments a little bit weird, and they were a bit disturbing. And actually, I was very critical of the comments. I don't feel there was a point of it. What was he trying to? What are you trying to say? Like, I don't understand it. It came across very derogatory. Like, is he trying to say that he's intentionally not want to giving black fighters? I didn't understand what the purpose was behind his behind what he was saying. What are you trying to say? That why he avoids black fighters? Why would Canelo avoid black fighters? I just feel like he's trying to say black fighters are superior. Like, is he trying to say black fighters are superior? That's why he avoids them, because he thinks the other guys are going to be easier from the other backgrounds. I don't know what he's trying to get at here. And wherever way you look at it, it looks kind of derogatory. Right? I think it's quite disrespectful, firstly, to the other backgrounds that are competing in boxing, to say something like that. I don't understand why he said, I don't know why he said it, to be fair. Don't know why he said it. Imagine some of the other, like, Eastern Europeans that are really good fighters right now. Right? What they must be feeling with Crawford saying something like that. I always say that race and background's got nothing to do with it. It's your skills. Who cares what background somebody's from? You could be Chinese, North Korean, Pakistani, Spanish. Doesn't matter where you're from. Right? If you've got skills, then fans will give you credit. If you've got skills, you've got the ability, you've got talent, it doesn't matter where you're from. But I feel like a lot of guys make out like their race or their background is superior. A lot of fighters say that. Oh, I'm from this background. We've had it tough. We've had it like this. We've had it like that. Who cares? Forget about what background you're from. It's about your skills inside that boxing ring. People always love to bring up their background, Come on, man. That's what causes beef between different backgrounds, because it's like one background is saying my background's superior than yours, and it's just wrong. I don't think Crawford should have said that. And to be honest with you, I think he's got a lot of criticism from what reaction I've seen online. A lot of people are giving him stick, because Errol Spence fans are already looking to give him stick, right? Because they want to trash Crawford, so they're already looking for an excuse to trash him anyway. And by him saying what he said about Canelo, it's kind of given him an opportunity to say, this guy's just a phony. He's fought nobody, he's fought all bums, and he's talking about how, Canelo's resume is trash and Canelo avoids this and that. Canelo doesn't avoid anyone. Canelo fights anyone. Canelo would fight Charlie and Andrade, and he'd beat them, in my opinion. He's not afraid of them, so I don't understand why Crawford thinks that. What makes Crawford think that he's afraid of Andrade and Charlo? But what Crawford doesn't understand, why doesn't Crawford say, who have those guys fought? Why don't those guys fight one another? Why is it all the pressure on Canelo? This is what Crawford don't understand. Is like Canelo's fighting all the tough guys. Look at Canelo's resume. Look at Andrade and Charlo's resume. Why don't Crawford tell them that, what are you guys doing? Why don't you guys fight each other? Why don't you guys fight the top guys like Canelo is? But like I said, I feel like a lot of the American fans, I said it on a live stream earlier, that a lot of the American fans don't really think much of the UK fighters. And they treat them like they're rubbish and they're no good and they're terrible. And they come across quite disrespectful to the UK fighters, the way they view them. And I just don't think it sits down well with me, it sits down well with a lot of UK fans. Just the fact that I think the UK fighters are a lot better than what the Americans give the UK fighters credit for. Yes, Canelo fought Yildirim in February, who was a weak opponent, but you can't tell me Callum Smith and Saunders are weak. Callum Smith was 168, the number 168 pounder. Saunders is the WBO super middleweight champion. So Canelo's fighting champions. He's not fighting nobodies. He's fighting champions. He fought a mandatory against Yildirim, and now he's fighting another champion. But if he beats Saunders, they'll say, oh, Saunders was a bum anyway. That's what they'll say. He's not going to get any credit for this fight. But I just don't think Crawford should have said what he said. Because when you look at the resume Canelo's fought Jacobs, Lara, Trout, Mosley, Mayweather. He's fought them all. And to be honest with you, I believe he'll fight Charlo and Andrade if he gets if it makes sense, he'll fight him. Canelo's at the stage of his career where his skill set is so good and he's at a different level. He's not afraid to fight anyone. He's not afraid to fight anyone. Just because Leonard Ellaby says that Charlo will beat Canelo, right? Leonard Ellaby, a guy that's representing PBC, and everybody thinks that, that's the gospel truth. No, that's just his opinion. Many people think that Canelo would knock Charlo out, or Canelo will beat Charlo easy. Right? What you got to understand is where you get these people like Leonard Ellaby, they have an invested interest when they're making these comments. They're not being neutral. They have an invested interest in Charlo beating Canelo. That's what he wants to happen, not what he may think might happen. He wants Canelo to lose to Charlo. I just think that, guys, you know what? What we need to do is we need to be boxing fans before we become fanboys of a certain fighter. Because until we are as boxing fans, are not neutral, right? These big fights, these fights that we want, they're never going to happen because we're always defending our favourite fighters. So right now, Errol Spence fans are defending Errol Spence. Terence Crawford fans are defending Terence Crawford. And this is the problem in boxing. That there's too much fanboying going on. Rather than actually fans calling fighters out and saying, listen, you need to fight one another. You need to fight him. You need to fight him. But instead, they defend their favourite fighters and they're having beef with other fans who's a favourite fighter of the other guy that their guys should be fighting. Just going back and forth rather than actually, rather than actually, putting pressure on their favourite fighters to fight the guys that, they should be fighting. Instead, it's just kind of like defending them and trying to make out their king and trying to make they're the best. Like UFC fans must be having arguments as well. The difference is they're probably having arguments about who's going to win. We're having arguments about splits and who's going to get what, and 50-50 and 60-40 and 70-30. That's what arguments we have as boxing fans. We're arguing about that. They're arguing about who's going to win, what we should be debating about and arguing about. Not about who's going to get what split. You know, who's not ducking who's not fighting who. It's just nonsense, man. It's nonsense. It's like, you know, and everybody wants to defend their favorite fighter, you know. Everybody wants to defend their favorite fighter. Listen, I do think I was upset with Spence when he was, the fact that I think that he's, you know, Crawford right now is not in a great place mentally. I know he says he is, but he wants to fight all these top guys. It's not happening. And he's so frustrated right now, where he's saying a lot of silly things that's making him look bad. Not just with his Canelo stuff, but even some of the stuff that he just recently said about Spence, about him not even taking the fight at 50-50. Because Crawford's all over the place for me. And I think, you know, someone needs to get a hold of him and say that, listen, you need to be careful what's coming out in the media, coming out your mouth in the media, because, you know, you're losing popularity. He's, you know, that comment, right? A lot of people have gone, you know, are peed off. They're not happy with the comment that he made about Canelo. Some people were offended by that. You know, and there's no need to make a comment like that. There's no need to go racial about it. About him not avoiding black fighters. It's just, I just don't think that's appropriate. Crawford's a good fighter and he's frustrated right now, and I can understand his frustration. But nevertheless, he needs to be more media savvy right now, you know, because otherwise he's just going to end up becoming hated amongst the fans, you know. He's already not that popular, and then he's going to become hated on top, you know. So, listen, I just hope that Crawford can get the Spence fight. I hope, you know, Canelo eventually fights Charlo. I really want him to fight Charlo now, because I want him to prove all these people wrong, that Charlo won't beat him. See, the problem is, here's the thing, if Canelo beats Charlo, what's going to be the next excuse then? Oh, he's ducking Andrade now. You see, it's never ending. There's always going to be someone coming up. There's always going to be someone coming up that you want Canelo to fight. Remember, he can't fight everybody at the same time. He can't fight everybody at the same time. And I just think some of the criticism that he gets is unwarranted. He's, like I said, for me, the best guy in boxing right now. And he fights everybody. I don't think he doesn't duck anyone. He fights everyone. You know, you can't say he ducks anyone. Fights everyone. But again, some people will never be happy. But like I said, I think he deserves a lot of credit. I think he deserves a lot of respect, Canelo. But let's see what happens with let's see what happens with this situation. If Canelo does beat Saunders, does he fight a Charlo? Does he fight an Andrade? It'll be interesting to see, because I do think those are biggish fights, and a lot of the Americans want him to fight those guys. I believe he will. I believe he'll fight Charlo or Andrade. Let's see. But I just think the comments made by Crawford were unwarranted. I don't think they were necessary, and I, to be honest, I don't even agree with them, to be honest, because I don't think Canelo looks at what race he fights. I just think he fights whoever. He hasn't got a problem. You know, he fought Jacobs, he fought Lara, he fought Trout, he fought Mayweather. He didn't think, oh, well, I'm fighting a black man or I'm fighting a white man. He doesn't think like that. He's just a fighter. He's going in and fight anyone. He's a warrior. You know, and let's be honest, you can't even compare Canelo's resume to Crawford's. It's unrivaled. Unrivaled. You know, and what's his name? What's that guy's name? Mike Coppinger. I think he was really upset by Crawford's comments. Look at the way he went in on Crawford. And really, that guy doesn't really normally go in on fighters like that. Coppinger. And he went in. Like, he literally went in. He goes, how can Crawford talk crap about Canelo's resume? And he named like 6, 7 good fighters that Canelo's faced. And he said, and Crawford's best win is against Victor Postal. And he was basically said that Canelo's 10th win eclipses Crawford's best win. He's probably right. Canelo's 10th best win eclipses Crawford's best win. See, some people, they won't be happy because obviously, like when you've seen a guy and he's put in the work like Canelo has, and he's put in the graft, and then you have another fighter who a lot of people don't think has put in the work, that he's fought, although he's achieved a lot, he's fought lower level competition, and then he's criticizing another fighter who has fought stellar competition. You know, a lot of people in the boxing industry are going to call him out for that. Like Mike Coppinger's probably a neutral guy, and that probably didn't sit well with him, and he's thinking, I've got to speak up about this. Otherwise, normally they're not the type of people to criticize or like journalists. They don't normally come out and criticize a fighter like that. He came out and he literally ripped Crawford with that, because he probably was upset that Crawford made those comments. You know, and they were quite disrespectful comments, to be fair. So yeah, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. Do you think Canelo will fight Charlo and Andrade or not? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.